The Sigma Spincontrol S centrifuge controller can be individually configured for different applications. If you enable the standstill cooling option, an ice crystal icon is shown on the main overview. The centrifuge temperature remains constant, even when it is not running. According to the international standard for centrifuges, rotors may only be operated at maximum speed when the density of the liquid does not exceed 1.2 grams per square centimeters. The maximum speed of the rotor must be reduced for liquids with higher densities. To do this, you enter the corresponding density here. And on the main overview, you can see an arrow indicating that the maximum rotor speed is reduced. This way you are always on the safe side. If you enable the Centrifugation Monitoring option, the centrifugation run is continuously monitored, and a message appears on the screen at the end of the process. If the temperature monitoring option is enabled, the centrifuge can only be started when the difference between the set point value and the actual value does not exceed 3 degrees Celsius. The allowable temperature range can be preset. If the centrifuge leaves this temperature range while running, it will break in order to protect the product. If the spin out option is enabled, braking is switched off when the rotor speed reaches a defined value during deceleration. The centrifuge then spins down freely. This speed value can be set anywhere from 100 to 1000 RPM. Under Lock, you can protect saved programs with a password number. This prevents unintentional or unauthorized changes. If the Open Lid After Run option is enabled, the lid lock is released at the end of the run. You should bear in mind that the refrigeration stops running when the lid is open. If the Program Rotation option is enabled, the centrifuge processes all other saved programs after completing the first program and then goes back to the first program. If the Runtime as of set speed option is enabled, the centrifugation runtime does not start until the pre-selected speed is reached. If the Start Delay option is enabled, the centrifuge waits for the delay time to end before starting the actual centrifugation run. This time is configurable. If the Display Deceleration Time option is enabled, at the end of the runtime, the centrifuge displays the time it needed to decelerate to a stop from the set point speed. The centrifuge temperature can optionally be displayed in degrees Celsius or degrees Fahrenheit. Many different languages can be selected under Language. If the Speed RCF Fine option is enabled, values can be set using small step intervals. The runtime can similarly be set with small steps with this option. The Invert option inverts the screen display. In the Cycles field, the centrifuge shows the number of runs already performed by each rotor. The centrifuge issues a warning message when the maximum run capacity limit is reached. The software version of the centrifuge is shown in the Info field. The Sensor Mode field shows the diagnostic codes which can be helpful for phone support in the event of problems. If the centrifuge is connected to a network, it can be assigned a name. If a run is terminated due to an imbalance or a fault, the centrifuge can emit an audible signal. The signal duration is configurable. In the curve editor shown here, you can freely define the braking period and rotor speed for deceleration to stand still. You can choose from a linear or quadratic curve for the final 1000 revolutions.